In 2021, comedian Eric Omondi kickstarted a controversial campaign urging mainstream media to play at least 75% of Kenyan music. While the campaign sparked a lot of conversation, one Kenyan was already walking the talk by setting up his own platform dedicated to playing 100% Kenyan music and so much more. In this episode, we take a look at the story of Radio 254, Kenya's first online radio station that strictly airs Kenyan music and content. With that being said, welcome to the Rawpod with me, Renee Were. Let's get real and raw.
My name is Jokia. I do a lot of things, but I love Kenyan music, and I've listened to a lot of Kenyan music, and I know how great Kenyan music is, and I'm on a mission to put Kenyan music on the map. And I feel like Kenyan music is up there. It's just a question of how do we get there.
Okay, so how did the idea of Radio 254 come about?
So I used to make music. Between 2009 and 2012, I would have considered myself like a full-time artist. I was a Kenyan musician, or whatever that means, and I was going to the studio every day, releasing music every day, trying to get airplay, trying to shoot music videos. I was going through the motions of being a musician. And after 5 years of doing that, my parents said, well, you're failing at life and you need to go do something serious with your life. You've done this for 5 years and you have nothing to show for. So after a discussion with my parents, I had to go to school. It had been long enough trying to do this music thing and I had nothing to show for. So I went to school. I went to the States, and I went to the States for 10 years. And the promise with my parents was that I was never going to make music again. So they said, don't want you doing this music thing. Done, you tried, you put everything, and it doesn't make sense. You need to go on with your life. You've gone nowhere. So I went to school, and I listened to my parents. I didn't make music. But the crazy thing was, even though I was not making music, my whole life was music. For the last 5 years, I was going to the studio every day. I'd go to Dilly studio, I'd go to Provoke studio, I'd go to Jazz studio. I was going, like, that was my routine. My thing was to make music. So now here I am, I'm no longer allowed to make music and I'm no longer home. What do? I started becoming a collector of music. And I'd spend maybe 3 to 6 hours a day of my time downloading and listening to Kenyan music. And at the time, because I was an artist, I knew where artists were posting their music. So I used to go to Reverb Nation, I'd go to Mudundo, I'd go to DJ mixes, I knew where to find Kenyan music. So every day I had an obsession of 3 to 6 hours of rabbit holes of Kenyan music. So I did this for 10 years when I was living in the States. So I lived in the States for 10 years, and the whole time I was in the States, I did not make a single song, but I would collect music every day. So when 2020 happened, there's a guy called Tory Lanez. He was going live on Instagram at the time, and he was doing this quarantine radio thing. So every day he'd do quarantine radio, and what caught my attention was there was Kenyans who would go onto quarantine radio and go live. I remember like Shakila, like some random people who were going on quarantine radio, and I was like, this is interesting. It's like, this is radio, but it's online. So like, okay. So somewhere in between quarantine radio, I realized I have a lot of Kenyan music. I don't know if you know what a hard drive is. I used to have hard drives for 1 terabyte. So I have 100 1 terabyte hard drives of Kenyan music. I don't know if you understand how crazy that is. 1 terabyte of Kenyan music. 1 terabyte of a hard drive you cannot fill up if I give you right now. I have 100 terabytes of Kenyan music. I was collecting music like I would go, there's certain days I downloaded 300 songs. There's days I've downloaded 11 songs. There's days I've downloaded 200, like, today I've downloaded songs. Like every day, it's like it's a habit. You know, like a habit. My habit is Kenyan music. When I thought of all this music I have, what I would do with the music I had was I was collecting music, but I'd send it to my girlfriends. So like, oh, I made you a mix today. You listen to this, or I made you a playlist or whatever. I have so much music I've collected for the purpose of collecting for myself. It was easy for me to do this because when I saw quarantine radio and I saw people listening from all over the world, and I looked at my music, but no one was listening to my music. But people liked my music because I would send it to people, or like I'd play it for people. But then it's like, where do you listen to it?
Do you mean the music you collected or the music you made?
Oh, no, music I collected. So this is about collecting music over making music. So I listen to music and I collect it. And meaning I also buy a lot of this music. Like, I'd say I would go and buy the actual albums. I'd go and buy the actual singles. I'd go and buy, Mook sells Kenyan music, I'd go buy it there. Like, wherever the music was being sold, if it's on Hustle Sasa, I'll go buy it. So I ended up having about 60 to 80 terabytes of music at the time. And that's how I just said, okay, I'm going to put it somewhere and all you have to do is press play. So, say my playlist right now has more than 4 million Kenyan songs, but it came out of me listening to Kenyan music every day to the point where I felt confident enough to curate something that people could listen to. And like I'm saying, I listen to a lot of Kenyan music. So once if I listen to so much of it, I know what's good, what's bad, what people will enjoy, what people won't enjoy. But it came out of being someone who listens to it and enjoys it and wanting to share that with the world. So I'd say it starts with one, listening to it. Like I can play you songs that you've never heard that are Kenyan that will blow your mind. But then my goal is to get like 10 more people to hear it. I'm trying to get these songs heard by the world, and that's what I'm trying to do with Radio 254.
So what was the eureka moment? What was the moment where you went, oh, I think I should start this, and yeah.
So I started with just music, and that was in April of 2020. And then was doing just music, and then at the time I got into podcasting. Got into podcasting as a listener. I was listening to podcasts. So I had the idea of curating podcasts. So I had a Monday podcast, a Tuesday podcast, a Wednesday podcast, a Thursday podcast, and a Friday podcast. So I looked for podcasts that were Kenyan and that I thought were unique. And I asked, I had non-exclusive licensing agreements with them. So I said, I'm going to play your podcast on radio at this time, and you can still play it and do anything you want with it. So at the time I was still in the US, so I wasn't even in Kenya at the time when I was doing that. So the eureka moment happened in December of 2020. So I came home for Christmas. I was living in the States, I came home for Christmas in December 2020. And I was hanging out with my brother, and like other online radio stations, they talk. Like they talk. Mine just plays music and I schedule podcasts. So my job was very simple. Add music, schedule podcast. Add music, schedule podcast. So I thought, how do I talk? So went online and I Googled, how do you talk on an online radio station? And I found some software that allows you to go live. Downloaded that. It was a free trial. So went live with that, and 300 people listened. And we were only allowed to go live for 15 minutes. So 300 people listened. So then I looked for another software that would allow us to go live for more than 15 minutes. But then for that software, I had to buy it. So I remember I had my card. I was like, "Where's my card? I need to pay for this." Like I was trying to figure out, do I pay? I had a very big dilemma of, do I look for another free software or do I pay for this one? So I said, "Fuck it, just bring my card. Let me try it." So it was $49. I grabbed my card. I put it in, and then we went live. And that night, 1,000 people listened, then 3,000 people listened, then 7,000 people listened. This is the first day I've ever gone live, ever. Like I used to just add music playlist, add music podcast. So now I'm talking and people are listening, and I think that's the moment I said I wasn't going to go back to America, because I was like, wait, people are listening. Why? So ironically or strangely, that day that I went live for the first time, I got COVID. So the people I was hanging out with that day gave me COVID. And because of having COVID, I wasn't able to go back to the States. So what happened was, supposed to be leaving in January. I get COVID. I'm in isolation in a room for two or 3 weeks. And now during this 2 or 3 weeks that I'm in my mom's outside house, I start going live every day. And then people say, no, you can't just go live when you want to. They say you need to go live at the same time so we can tune in. So they decided you're going live at 7 p.m. You don't just go live at 2 p.m. Because at that time I had COVID, I was isolating. So I'd go live 9 a.m., 11 a.m., like whenever I could. The people called me and said, nah, boy, you go live at 5 or 7. When we leave work, we want to listen to you. And the rest is history. I had never gone live talking on the radio. That happened. That same day I get COVID. And then I started going live every day for 3 weeks at 7 p.m. And I've never looked back.
This was all in your mom's house?
This was all in my mom's house. And the problem became, it became too big. My mom didn't want everybody coming to her house. You see, like when you're doing interviews, they come to you. So my mom's like, everybody, like, it's like, because we were doing interviews every day. So now it becomes, you need an office because you don't want everybody to know where you live. You can't have everybody coming to your mom's house. And that's how I ended up with my first studio space in Westlands. So started at my mom's house, thank God to her. And then I got a studio space in Westlands. So there was an office in Westlands that had a music studio. And I was trying to do this radio thing. So I rented out a room to do the radio. So there was a room for the radio and a room for the music studio. So I was renting the radio station room and paying rent for that. And then there was someone else who was running the music studio. So that's when we started having the first studio. That was in Westlands. So I got a first studio in Westlands. It was just a room. Grew a lot from there. Then got a second office in Muthaiga. And then now this is our base now. About 4 years later. This is 4 years later. This is what 4 years later looks like. 2020 December, I was doing this in an Airbnb or in my mom's backyard. Now, fast forward to 2024, we're doing this out of our own space. And we're able to have shows every day. So like even right now, there's a show happening upstairs. So it's really taken a life of its own.
So what's the criteria for a song to play on your station?
The criteria is it has to be Kenyan. So the mountain that I've chosen to die on is the mountain of 100% Kenyan music. And trust me, there's a day that a new Drake song comes out, or that new Burna Boy, or there's this new song by Brent Faiyaz and Wizkid right now. That shit's fire. Those songs are good, but they can't be played on Radio 254. Radio 254, as an artist, as someone who's been an artist, I had to pay music for my music to be played on the radio. So I never want anybody to have to pay to get their music played on the radio. So I've actually fired people. If an artist pays you to get their song played, I'll fire you. Like, you cannot charge someone to play their song. That's insanity. But the criteria has to be Kenyan music. And by Kenyan music, I mean the artist has to be Kenyan, the producer has to be Kenyan, or the person featured has to be Kenyan. So I'll give you a random example of like a Burna Boy song. Burna Boy has features with Sauti Sol. So for example, Burna Boy has a song with Sauti Sol, which is theirs. It's called African Star, which is African Star, Sauti Sol featuring Burna Boy. We can play that song because it's Sauti Sol featuring Burna Boy. Burna Boy also has a song with Sauti Sol called Time Flies. It's Burna Boy featuring Sauti Sol. So we can play Time Flies because it's featuring a Kenyan artist. So criteria has to be a Kenyan artist is singing the song, a Kenyan producer is producing the song, or a Kenyan artist is featured. So long as you meet that criteria, we'll play your song.
So what do you...
Go ahead.
What do you love most about running this platform?
What I love most about running this platform, I love being able to help people. I think I do this because I enjoy helping people, and I wanted to be able to make things better than I found them. When I was in the States, I'd get a lot of my friends were musicians, and they'd tell me how hard it was. They were in the same situation I was, where they'd been making music for years, and their parents were telling them they're doing nothing with their lives. So, if it's to offer hope to someone, that's what I'd want to be able to do. But I really genuinely want to be able to help people. More and more as I'm doing this, I'm realizing I need to be able to find a way to figure out how creators can earn a living from Kenyan music. Because playing the music alone is amazing, but playing the music and not being able to help them eat, pay bills, and survive, it's kind of useless. Genuinely, it's kind of useless. But for me, I want to be able to help people. I've been able to interview thousands of Kenyan artists. I've been able to play Kenyan music of all genres. I've been able to offer employment, offer gigs to people, but I still feel like there's so much more we can do. But I think for me, it's being able to help people in whatever little way that I can help. I want to help, and I feel like the day it doesn't help people anymore, then I don't see myself in it. I feel like if it was about money, then I wouldn't want to do this because I don't make money from this. But if I could find a way to continuously help people, whether it's giving you an internship to be able to learn what you're doing in school, or giving you a chance to have your own event, or giving you a chance to even host a radio show. Like, bro, forget getting played on radio. Getting a chance to be on radio as a radio presenter is impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
It's really hard.
So mine is to leave things better than I found them. I honestly can't say I found much structure and industry. It's like I don't want to find the same problems I had when I was a musician being faced right now. I was a musician, I know what problems we were facing. If guys are still facing the same problems, then I'm not doing my job. Like, I want kids who are making music now to face new challenges.
So, speaking of challenges, what are some of the challenges that you come across now that you play 100% Kenyan music?
I feel like with Afro beats or with Nigerian music specifically, what really helped Nigerian music become popular globally was the fact that Nigerians in the diaspora were really rooting for Nigerian music. When you go to Atlanta, you'll find Nigerians in the club wanting to listen to Nigerian music, and they're spending money, so the DJ has no option than to play them the Davido or the Thames that they want to listen to. Whereas I find here, I have hundreds of artists in my email right now asking me to play their song. I'm going to go ahead and play their song, but they're not going to listen to the radio that's playing their song because they're not going to listen to another Kenyan artist. Like, if I tell them I'm going to play your song at 3 p.m., they'll listen at 3 p.m. to listen to their song. But it doesn't work like that. You have to be able to be rooting for your own. And I feel like as Kenyans, we do really well with politicians in terms of Mutu Wetu. This is a person from our tribe. But bro, you need to root for Charisma. If Charisma is having a gig at Mass House, post for Charisma. Let people know Charisma is performing. If you don't like Charisma, tell them Jerai is performing as well. If it's not Jerai, there's a DJ there. I mean, we have a whole community. An event involves so many people. It involves the event organizer. It involves the sound person. It involves the person who's vending. It's an ecosystem.
Yeah.
And we're playing stupid right now by fucking up an ecosystem that can feed all of us, because you can have an event on Sunday, and in that event, there's a bartender, there's a mixologist, there's a DJ, there's security, there's someone who provided the sound, there's a person who's going to be cleaning the toilets, there's a person, motherfucker, that's people who can all eat. But now we play this game where we're like, and it's like, that for me, we have to support each other, our own. And so long as we have this mentality of, unjua, mi napenda stupid boy, lakini sipendi Fena, or mi napenda Mandi, lakini sipendi Femi One. It's nasty, it's disgusting, it's pathetic. Because if we can support our own and root for our own, this wouldn't even be work. This would be so fun. But we're dealing with people who want to be supported but don't want to support others. It's complicated. But I guess it gives me the challenge of now figuring out, okay, how can I get my people to listen to Kenyan music? Because if you look at like my listenership, for example, I have people who listen from Germany, I have people who listen from Canada, I have people who listen from Somalia, Czech Republic, sometimes even places I don't understand like Russia or Japan. And I'm like, okay, cool, you guys are listening, but how do you get more Kenyans to listen? Because there's like people who are outside Kenya appreciate Kenya and love it, but I want Kenyans who are here to value, not even Radio 254, but value other Kenyan artists or value what Kenya is. Like, for me, I want us to love Kenya and not love a person. Like, and I say I love Kenyan music. I don't say I love Nyashinsky and I love BN. I love Kenyan music, like whether it's Hornsphere or it's even the person you've never, even Maima or Prince Inda. I don't love an artist, and I find some people want to love an artist. It's like, why? Okay, yeah, like cool, but like it's not. It's about Kenyan music. For me, it's. I don't even have a fear of saying, like, I'm not here to root for one person. Like I'm not trying to take one person up. I'm trying to take the whole game up if it's possible. Yeah.
I love what you've said. It's not about the personality, it's about the music. And I think that's an issue we have as Kenyans. We love individuals.
Tunapenda Chris Kaiga, lakini hatutaki kupenda ama boys wameanguka nayo. Unajua?
Yeah. So, apart from that, what about when it comes to running this place? Because you've mentioned you don't earn from this. So, what's difficult about not being able to earn from this? Because mainstream media, people earn. Especially from advertising and whatnot. But here it's purely out of the passion. That's what's driving. Does the passion sometimes become a challenge when there's no revenue?
I'll be honest with you. I've fallen out with Kenyan music sometimes. Like sometimes Kenyan music breaks my heart. And it just hurts. Like sometimes I'm just like, no, why? This is not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Genuinely, sometimes I don't know. I want to go listen to Vibes Cartel or something. Like sometimes I genuinely can't do it. And
why?
Because I've given my everything, and it's not working, and that's what kills me the most. Actually, what kills me the most is that I've given my everything. It's not working up to my expectation, and I'm supposed to be quiet and just shut up, go through it, and come out and smile and be okay when I'm not okay. Motherfucker, I've lost millions. Like over $120,000 has gone into this, and right now my Fuliza limit has 5 sock, and these tokens I just had to buy. And there's gonna be some other nigga who comes here, tells me he needs I don't know what. And genuinely, I don't make money from this. So it's genuinely my passion and my purpose. And if it wasn't for passion and purpose, then I don't know. I don't know. Because let me tell you the truth. The idea of a radio station that plays 100% Kenyan music, it was there. People, I'm sure, thought about it. But the difficult thing was actually doing it. I'm a big believer in that ideas are nothing without execution. I have $1 million ideas in my pockets right now. They are nothing if I can't execute them. But with Radio 254, I genuinely believe that this is what can help us. And I genuinely want to do it in a way that money doesn't fuck it up. I've seen money fuck up a lot of things. And we need a platform that plays Kenyan music. And that platform needs to be non-biased, where you don't have to know me and you can just find a way to help yourself. And I've seen so much clicks or having to know someone that the only thing I'm trying to do is make sure that you don't have to know me. I promise you, you don't have to know me as an individual to get your song played. You don't have to know me as an individual to get an interview. I literally have made it possible where you can go to the website, you can schedule an amateur show, you can schedule to get an interview, you can schedule to book the space for an event. It's not about the owner, and the owner has never mattered. Actually, if anything, I've fallen out with people who wanted to claim owning my radio station when they put nothing into it. Actually, I don't do this whole who's the owner, here's an interview, let's talk about me shit. No, I want this to be less about me and more about what is being built here. And what's being built here is a place where if you're a Kenyan artist, you know there's a place that's going to play your music, there's a place that's going to support you. But so long as unajituma pia, it's not about that you just wake up in the morning and we play a song. I think it's not hard. I also want people to kind of try a bit. I want you to be able to go to the website and book for an interview. It's here for people to use, and I want people to use it. And it only hurts when nobody uses it, to be honest. What would suck more is having a platform like this one and it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. But in terms of challenges, I'll definitely say that finances is the biggest challenge, and we've had our fair share of challenges. Our first office space, we had to move from there, and we had people help us. We had an mchanga that we did for Keep Radio 254 Alive, and we actually had random people from the internet help us, and we raised money and we were able to keep going. And then it's just figuring out ways we can sustain this. I think the hardest part is I don't even think it's about making money, but how do you sustain something like this? Yeah. So for me, it's about figuring out ways to be able to still help people, but also sustain this. But I think if it stops helping people, I personally would definitely stop. Yeah.
I like what you said about not having to know someone as an artist, especially for upcoming artists, having to know someone just to get an interview, because it happens a lot. It's either you go viral or you make it. That's when mainstream media is actually interested in you. So, which brings me to my other question. How do you think mainstream media could better support Kenyan artists?
From my look of things, I genuinely don't think Kenyan artists need mainstream media. Mm-hmm. The last person mainstream media made was Githeri Man. Genuinely, mainstream media is not pushing out artists. I think if you're an artist, you're better off on TikTok. You're better off on socials. You're better off even on the ground than a mainstream platform. I have artists who I talk to, and they'll go on a mainstream media interview and nothing changes. There's no followers. So I'd say I don't see a need for mainstream media in pushing Kenyan music. Mm-hmm. I think what adapt, bro. It's the same way Wakadinali was uploading to YouTube and Homeboys was playing it on Homeboys. It's you get hot, and once you're hot, no one's gonna. But like you need to figure out how to get hot. I'd say my advice to artists right now is skip the manager part. I honestly don't like this whole I have a manager nonsense, because in your first 3 to 4 years, you should be the one interacting with the who's and who's, because that's how you build relationships. You see, if you have a manager in year 1 and 2 of your career, you don't know who organizes folk fusion, and you don't know who does ongeza, and you don't know who does playlisting, you don't even know who Kofen is, so you don't know shit. Someone there is doing all these moves for you. That person, let's say they go, you are starting over again. But I've seen artists who've been their own managers or run stuff for themselves, at least in the beginning. They're able to know where to go with a new song. They're able to know how to promote a new song. They're able to figure out, naje kuna msee najua anafanyanga ma challenges naweza mpigia. Kuna msee anakuanga pale Radio Jambo naweza mpigia. Kuna ule producer wa 10 over 10 naweza mpigia. Lakini when someone is making those calls for you, you'll really hurt. So mine would be very much so to tell people to manage your career before you give it to someone else. Like even for me as a business, I can't give you my business to manage when it's not making anything. But like you can't give someone a shop that's not making anything. So you set up the shop, the shop starts getting some customers. Then now you can hire someone to sit at the shop and manage it for you. But I feel like people want someone to come manage your career for you or grow your career for you when that's your job. And I feel like some people want other people to do their job for them. It's not anyone's job to make you a superstar. It's as much as there's platforms out here who can help you, kazi bado ni kwako. Kazi ni kwako the most. Like when unafaa uamuke umepost ngoma yako fast. When unafaa umeamuka umenitumia email fast. When unafaa umeamuka umetumia wale wa challenge. Unajua, but if you're not pushing your song like that, no one's going to push it. I am pushing as much as I can, but there's only so much I can push, and like I said, I'm trying to push the whole Kenyan music, not an individual. But it's very easy for people to blame others. Like, even in my scenario, I could be like, Radio 254 could not work because of this. But I feel like it's more of, okay, what do I need to do, and then where can I be helped? So I feel like, as guys, we're doing our part in playing Kenyan music. Now we want people to help by engaging or by finding, or even utilizing what we have. Like for me, by the full stop, utilize what we have. We have so many different services we offer, a lot of them free. How can you help us? Utilize those. But like, I feel like we all need help, but it's also figuring out what help you need and who can help you with those things.
And also helping yourself.
helping yourself
the
sana.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the most memorable moment you've had on air since you began?
I say of my own, I mean, try think, but one of the most amazing things that ever happened was I used to have a Sunday service.
Really?
I used to have a Sunday service. We'd have a genuine church service on Sunday afternoons. And I think one of the most amazing things that ever happened was someone gave their life to Christ. Like someone was listening on air and they sent an email and they said, "Hey, I was listening and I was touched and I gave my life to Christ." I think that one for me is up there. I think someone who didn't know the Lord before that, getting to know the Lord on radio and being so excited about it that they even sent an email about it. I think that's what we do this for. It's for that. It's not for these other things. And then for me, I've had a lot of amazing moments on air. But I'd say favorite for me would either be my interview with Sedo or my interview with Matata. I think I really enjoyed those two interviews. I really enjoyed those two interviews for me. Yeah.
What was the weirdest moment? Because I know there's always a weird moment somewhere.
So I had this guy once. He came for an interview. He was an artist, and he brought his friend. So me, in my preparation, I've done my research, I'm ready for an interview, I know who I'm interviewing. So this guy decides he's going to bring his two friends with him. And yeah, it's okay if you have a friend, like I don't mind, like your friend is welcome to join or sit there. But then the friend either wanted to talk or this person was trying to have the friend talk for them. So I'm asking the person the question and then they're having their friend ask, and I was just like, this is not gonna happen. So we almost had an altercation. We almost fought each other. Like they tried to fight me in my studio because I was like, I'm not doing this. Like this is dumb. Like I've literally spent 3 hours researching you. You're not answering questions. You want your friend to answer for you questions. I don't even know your friend's name. We threw hands. It was stupid. I'm not like, if you want an interview, like I'm not interviewing your friend. Like. Yeah, so don't bring your friend to the interview. It's not your friend's interview. If you can't talk, let's not even do it. But like, I'm not trying to have someone who has someone answer for them questions do the interview. Like, I asked you a question and then your boy's answering for you. Yeah, that was stupid. That was stupid.
I genuinely have never heard of that. Like,
imagine someone's answering.
Even Beyonce does that.
It was stupid. It was so stupid.
Okay, so I came across this article where you were featured in 2021 by Nation, and it mentioned that this idea was actually way back from 2013.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you first wanted to actually buy a frequency. Like, you wanted to do it the traditional way, but there's some inhibitions. Do you mind going into detail about that?
Yeah. So in 2011, I wanted to run a radio station with a frequency. So I went to Communications Authority of Kenya at the time. They were called CAK, and I applied for a frequency. And I paid for the application fee, did everything I needed to do, and I was put on a wait list. So in 2013, my dad passed away, and my dad passed away, and this life happened. So I kind of forgot about the whole waitlist thing because I was on a waitlist. So
since 2011.
Since 2011, I was on a waitlist. So when online came, is when I was like, oh shit, a frequency you can only listen like in a region.
Yeah, in a region.
And that's what the light bulb for me was like, wait, si wanasikiza kila mahali. Well, your frequency is limited to a geographical region. I'm like, this is everywhere. Bro, people in Australia listen. Bro, people listen from Santiago, Chile. A place called Santiago, Chile has listeners. A guy, or I don't know who it is, listens every day to Radio 254. So it's like the reach of online made the appeal of a frequency, Like the appeal of a frequency, it's not there when you look at, like just the other day I drove from here to Tanzania. The whole time when I was driving to Tanzania, I listened to Radio 254. No interruptions. I didn't hear the same song.
Yeah.
I was like, bruh, if I was on frequency, I'd have to switch from Siju 96.3 to Siju 98.4. Kafika Arusha, badilisha frequency, I don't know what. So I genuinely appreciate time, because a lot of things I've learned, like if I'd done certain things in a hurry, it would have fucked me over. I appreciate the fact that we're online, because I don't think if we were a frequency, we would have had the growth we've had. We've had over 40 million people listen worldwide, and they listen from all over the world. Like, all over the world. Like, it's insane. So I genuinely think that whereas a frequency was the direction I would have wanted to go over 10 years ago, I feel like it's been passed by the times. Yeah.
Also the freedom. There's so much you can't say when you have a license.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So, what does the future look like for Radio 254?
The future looks bright. As a station, I feel like we haven't even reached 10% of where we can go. I remember I used to be excited about 3,000 listeners, and now I'm doing 90,000, 80,000 a day. And I used to be like, 3,000! I'm quitting my job! Now 8,000, 80,000, 90,000, 100,000. Now I'm like, damn. My dream and what I'm waiting for it to be too big for me to run. I need someone who understands stuff I don't understand to be able to come handle what I can't handle. I need it to get more challenging and more complicated, because it's going to. But the future of Radio 254 is not necessarily radio. The future of Radio 254 is radio, TV, film, and streaming. So we have a streaming platform. It's called Play KE, and we have Kenyan music, Kenyan podcasts, Kenyan movies, and Kenyan shows. And what we're trying to do is what we were never able to do with Radio 254. So Play KE is kind of born out of 4 years of doing Radio 254 and seeing how we can offer value. So I came up with Play KE in 2023, and it's a streaming platform. And what we want to do is we want to have a streaming platform solely for Kenyan music and content. So the same way you have Spotify, you have Boomplay, you have Mdundo, you have Apple Music, we are also in the streaming game, but with a specific need and niche for Kenyan content and music. So if you love Kenyan, we want you to check out Play KE, and the gist is, if an artist or podcaster or filmmaker posts something on Play KE, they get we're charging 1 shilling for a stream. So if you want to watch the whole movie, if you want to listen to the whole podcast, if you want to listen to the song, it's 1 shilling to stream. And where we've kind of taken a lot of our time is trying to figure out, okay, we need to offer value. Okay, I've played your song on the radio, people from all over the world have heard it, but your situation hasn't changed. I hear you. I need your situation to change, because I need you to keep doing this for a reason. So what we're doing with Play KE is we're charging 1 shilling per stream, and we're paying 50 cents per stream to the creative. So we want it to be sustainable, where it's something that's not going to be a phase or a fad. I don't want it to come and go. We want it to be something that's going to last a long time. And we're looking at being able to offer value and be able to help artists in the way that they want to be helped. So if you have a video you upload on Play KE and it gets 100,000 views, anybody is going to be able to know your video has 100,000 views. So I know as a platform, you know as a creative, but even your fans know how many you have. So at the end of the day, we're not having discussions about how much money did I make for my music. So if you have a song out there, for example, Nyashinsky has a song, he has 10 million streams. He knows from his 10 million streams, he has 5 million shillings he's owed strictly from just his music being played on Play KE. And this way we want to be able to do it somewhat in a way like royalties, where MCSK is not really doing much for artists right now. So we want to be able to give you a monthly paycheck with 50% of your streams for that month. say if in the month of April you had 800 streams, you can see you have 800 streams, your fans, it's like a Spotify, you can see monthly listeners, but then we're trying to make sure you're earning money from your music, but you have to be Kenyan. So to be able to upload, you have to have your ID there, and we want to make sure that Kenyans are benefiting from their work. So like, for example, I have a friend who has a YouTube channel, and every week he posts a video that gets 50,000 views. He's not getting 50,000 or even 25,000 from these views. But if he knew that he was going to be able to upload and get revenue from this, that's where we want to get to. Because I can play a song 1 million times and 1 million people can hear it, but you won't have 1 million shillings. Utabaki tu hapo njaa. Mi niko njaa, wewe uko njaa, tusaidiane. But I feel like having done this and having spoken to artists and worked with them, we need to find value for them. And as we reach 5-4, we're trying to find a way where there's value for them and they're able to earn a living. Bro, I want people to be able to pay school fees for their kids. I want people to be able to pay rent. If you hear some of the things artists go through and they don't talk about, it's painful. Like, there's no food at home, there's no water. Some of these guys have kids, so it's very hard. So it's how do we make that better for them? So we want to do that with Play KE and make that something that's going to be beneficial for the Kenyan music industry, because imagine there's a lot of people here with 1 million views on YouTube or streams and not 1 million shillings. Charisma has 1 million streams for his album The Motions. If it was 1 million streams on Play KE, that's 500,000 shillings for him. So I feel like if I continue to do this Ready to Fight For thing without value and without paying people, it's going to quickly become obsolete. Because whereas I don't value the money part of it a lot, the creatives do.
Yeah.
And if I'm not helping them, offering them value, then they don't value me. So I might be the only person playing their music, but they don't give a fuck because ngoma zangu na unilipi. Unajua, Octopizo told me, don't stream my album, buy my album. So it's us listening to them and also figuring out, okay, we want to grow you, but we also want to grow, and how can we do that? So it's not just play my music. That's why I say playing my music is just one step. Being able to find a way where these guys can make money from their music, that's where it's at. So we definitely want to do radio. We're going to keep doing radio, and especially online. We're going to keep doing TV. We have an online TV station now. So where we are Radio TV 254. So we have live TV with music videos. We're the MTV of Kenyan music right now, but people don't know. But we literally have a TV station online that plays music videos. So we want to be able to put on... People spend 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 on music videos, and then nobody's playing. Those mainstream media guys you're talking about are not playing the music videos. So with Radio TV 254, we want to be able to play these music videos because we do want to push Kenyan music still. With the radio, we want to be able to utilize it more. We have something called Amateur Show. It's free. You can literally come here, host a radio show for free. Utilize that. We have podcast radio. If you're a podcaster, you can literally come here, record your podcast for free, and go. So there's so many free opportunities for DJs. We have Lunchtime Express. If you're a DJ, come through, DJ, build your portfolio. Like, this idea, because honestly, you can't help me. I want people to utilize what we offer and what we've built. That's the only way you can help us. Like, we're not going to come and cry and tell you guys, oh, it's hard, but it's hard for everybody, and I don't want to keep crying. Like, yeah. But genuinely, I'm all about utilize what we have, because if you guys think or make us believe we're not useful, then we'll do something more. We'll do something that is more useful or something better with our time.
So those were your words to the Kenyan creative. What would you say to the Kenyan listener or consumer?
Give it a chance. I'd say give it a chance, because imagine you don't know the half of it. Like, I'm telling you, I've listened to at least 4 million Kenyan songs, and definitely more, and I know how good it is. There's a group called Mankind. Go check them out. They're going to blow your motherfucking mind. There's so many amazing artists out there that you haven't had because you don't listen to anything outside of your small circle or small box. Like, if you just step out, there's a girl called Zaituni. Yeah. There's so many amazing cats out there. Juanita, like male, female bands, reggae, dancehall, hip hop, EDM, Mike Mwema. There's so many dope guys, but you haven't heard them. And you might have only heard the Otile Brown or the Bien or the Brida, but there's so much more out there besides Otile Brown, Brida, Bien. And I'm begging you. I'm willing to get on my knees and propose to you. Give it a chance. Just press play and don't be in a rush. Like, if you can press play 20 minutes, 20 minutes is enough to have you hooked. But you have to be patient enough for at least that 20 minutes. If you can't, if you're like a microwave oven kind of person you press play and you need it, we don't do quick hits over here. We don't, it doesn't work like, but if you're patient, like we've been patient, it's beautiful. Like, but you really have to, but it's hard because I'm asking you to be patient. I'm having to be patient, but like, it's good. It's more than good. It's great. It's very good. But you really have to be patient and give it a chance, because it's not Angukanayo, and Angukanayo is fire. But there's a lot of great music out there besides what we're listening and what we've heard. Even myself every day. The reason I don't stop listening is because I usually say the day they stop dropping good music, I'm gonna stop. Like I'm waiting for the day where there's no day I've not found new Kenyan music. And not Atiba, like new good Kenyan music. But you literally have to, J. Cole was talking about persistence. Like you literally have to be persistent. Every day you show up. You show up even when you don't think there's anything like that. Like you just show up and you show up and you show up, because that's how I found some of the best music I've ever found. Like, yeah.
So, do you still work with Eric Kinywa? Because he was mentioned in that article.
No.
Is he one of the founders, or he just pitched in where he could?
He's not one of the founders.
Mm-hmm.
Before I even came to Kenya, Radio 4 was already registered. We had a bank account, we were a non-profit, like it was completely set up. And for lack of better words, or for honesty, the first studio space we had was his dad's office. So his dad had an office in Westlands, and they had a room. They had a music studio happening there, and they had stuff happening in there. So when I came in 2020, 2021, I rented that room from his dad. He was running the music studio, and I was running the radio station. He was not involved in the founding of Radio 254. He was not involved in the operations of Radio 254, and he didn't contribute to the capital. The $120,000 I'm talking about, he didn't contribute. So it was there in the beginning, as we were when we were setting up that first studio. But he's not involved currently, and he hasn't been involved since December 2022. Yeah, that's the extent of his involvement. But 2011 was the first time I have documents from 2011 from me starting this. So I don't think there's anybody there with me then. There's only me. At least in terms of there's no other founder.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other person putting in investment financially. But he was involved in the beginning. Yeah.
So, how were you financing it in the beginning? Were you working part-time, full-time, or?
When I was doing Radio 254, I had a job. I had a full-time job. So it was my hobby, it was my passion, my purpose. So I was in the military. I had a full-time job, paycheck, everything, and I was just doing this in my free time. Like I told you, I was living my normal life, but then I was collecting music. So I'd go to work, I'd have relationships, I'd go to the gym, I'd do whatever normal life was. But then at home I was building this. So I built the app myself, I built the website myself, and all of the music I bought or collected. So I was doing it while employed. And then I left employment and did it full time. So did it while I had a paycheck, so I was able to pay for the bills from my pay, and then I've invested a lot of money into it. Yeah.
So, any parting shot?
My parting shot would be that my parting shot would be what? I don't know what my parting shot would be. My parting shot would be to never stop believing. To never stop believing in what you're doing and what you do. I'll be very honest with you and tell you that it's a lonely journey, because when I started Radio 254, I was alone. I remember I was in my apartment alone, and I'd wake up in the middle of the night and write notes. I still have that book. And one of the most beautiful things is you'll come across people who believe in your vision. And it's interesting because you don't know why someone is believing in your vision. And I think that's been the only interesting thing for me about this journey, has been I have this idea or this thing that I believe in, and along the way people have come along and believed in it. But the genuine thing about it is there's moments of alone, in the sense of, I remember 2011 when I was going to a lawyer's office. I was alone to go do this. Maybe some people came along. Like when I went to the lawyer's office in 2011, I was alone to do this. When I was trying to think of how to do this, what's going to happen, I was alone. And it's interesting because like there's pockets of where I'll meet someone or meet people and they'll understand or maybe pretend they understand what I'm talking about, and then they leave me and then I'm alone again. And in those moments I kind of have to remind myself why I'm doing this. And the worst part is me, I'm the only one on the bill. So when I'm being left, it's the rent is on me. I've lost a lot of money in events, and the crazy thing about events is when we're doing the event, tuko wengi, or usually wengi, like oh yeah. But when there's guns to my head or it's time to pay, I'm alone. So it's a balancing of, I have this amazing idea, and along the way I find people who believe in it. But then those people who believe in it don't stay forever. They also leave me, and then I continue on my alone. So it's if I'm honest about this journey, it's I'm alone as a young person in 2011 trying to start this. Then I find people who are interested. Then I'm alone again in 2013, and then I find people who are interested. Then they leave, and then I'm again at 2020. I'm alone. I'm putting it together, and then people are like, oh, we like this, and then they come, they touch it, play with it, and then they go. Then I'm alone. So it's those valleys that really build you, because there's times I have no food in my house or tokens, but this place has to have tokens and has to have water. It's the alones that teach me the most. I can't say I have friends. I can't say, I'm very introverted. I keep to myself, but I've had to really look within me as a person. This has forced me to grow a lot in the last 4 years, because I don't know, I was a millionaire when I started this. Now I don't have millions. I was genuinely a millionaire. Multiple. We could go M for M. 1M, 2M, 3M, 4M, 5M, 6M, millions. I don't know. But it's the alone. It's the alone that's the hardest, because you have to now figure it out. Okay, where do we go from here? How do we start over? Where did those people go? What did I learn from them? What did they want? What did I want? And unfortunately, I'm an emotional person. And you would be if you had put as much time and money as you. I'm emotional because I've put my life into this. I need it to work. But I'm grateful for the alones, because they remind me why I started this. They remind me that unfortunately I'll always be alone sometimes in this journey, because it's my vision and people might not understand the vision or want it to go how I want it to go. But I decided that this is the mountain I'm going to die on. So long as I'm alive, Radio 254 will be alive. Unfortunately, or ideally, I would want it to live beyond me, because I wanted to. I wanted to live beyond me. I wanted to live beyond what I can do for it. I wanted to be able to be bigger than me. But it's not easy. But it's the alones that challenge me, because there's so many times where I've had no option, no hope, no nothing, and I was alone and had to figure it out. And that's the real journey for me. That's trying to figure it out, because there's so many times I've fallen and it's now, okay, how do I pick myself up again? Even being here right now is incredible, because my friend, to have a space that's yours, that nobody can kick you out of, that nobody could I could make you cry, but this is something I'm proud of. I built this place where I'm at right here was nothing. It was a blank shamba that became a canvas for this, and I'm praying that it can help people. I really pray that this thing can help people. Yeah, I want it to be able to help people.
Okay, so where can we find your music?
Never.
Why not?
Never.
Why not?
Never. Never going to happen.
No, when you mentioned that, I was like, I'd love to hear his music. Was he a rapper? Did he sing? Yeah.
Never.
Why? Why
Never.
not?
It's a past.
Mm-hmm.
It's the past. It's the journey that got me here, but it's not my journey right now. That journey that I went through to make music is the reason I'm here. Trust me, I'm someone who makes things better. So what I went through trying to be a musician, Aki says itaka mtu mwingine apitie. Aki, bro, Ogopa still has my video that he never released after paying him 120k in 2008. So please, nobody should ever go through the shit. But if you want to hear music I've kind of made, my wife and I make music. My wife is a producer, and I'm very good at coming up with choruses / melodies. So whenever my wife is cooking up beats, if I can hear it, I'll start coming up with melodies. So we made a song called Necessary Noise that she dropped. So it's out. There's other songs I've done with her, but that's us at home. That's us at home.
Playing around.
She wouldn't say we're playing around, but I make music with her for us. We have fights about releasing it because she would like to release it. She's in the process of releasing music, but for me, I'm not trying to be an artist. I wouldn't even consider myself an artist. But my wife is definitely the reason I had to, why I went back in the studio. But I don't intend on releasing anything. I don't intend on releasing anything, yeah. But I made music. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was good, but it was my business school. I've been to business school. I have an MBA, and what I learned trying to make music was more valuable than what I learned in B school. I feel like that's where I learned how to go through life. But I just now want to make it easier for people who are making music. I want you to be able to release a song and it can get a chance.
So you're saying it's nowhere, it's nowhere.
It's available on Bandcamp for $1,000.
Okay.
It's on Bandcamp for $1,000. But outside of that, and if you're not paying $1,000 for the whole project, you're not getting anything. So
it's a whole album.
It's a whole album. And it's only available on Bandcamp for $1,000.
Okay. That's awful. That's $1,000. Hey.
30 people have bought.
Really?
Yeah. 30 people bought it for $1,000.
So it's only on Bandcamp?
It's only on Bandcamp for $1,000. If you don't have $1,000, you can't listen to it.
Okay, sawa.
Thank you so much for listening. Remember to like and share this episode, follow the Rawpod on all our socials, and don't forget to let me know what your thoughts are about today's episode. Stay tuned for more uploads, and let's get real and raw right here on the Rawpod with me, Renee Were.